Hey everyone, and welcome to Going Over Bet Pro Wrestling, the only wrestling betting podcast on the planet. Today we're going to go over WWE Crown Jewel, which takes place this Thursday, October 21st. As a quick note, I'm recording this Monday, October 18th, before Monday Night Raw. There's a couple of things that will impact Crown Jewel that are taking place on Raw, so I'll kind of cover that, and I'll let you know where you can go to read my full betting tips. That's actually at betwwe.com. I'll be doing the full betting tips right up on there Tuesday. So go to betwwe.com and around 2 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll have my Crown Jewel betting tips up. If you go there just now, you'll actually see an article on all the betting upsets that have ever occurred at Saudi Arabia. There's actually only been 7 betting upsets, and so it's like, what's that, about 1 per show basically? And I'm just going to quickly cover them, just so you get an idea of what the betting upsets that take place at Crown Jewel are. It's been a weird show, or the Saudi Arabia shows in general. It's been a weird thing with Saudi Arabia, because initially it was more just a glorified house show, and then they've kind of changed it as things have gone on a bit, and it's starting to actually mean something, which makes sense. You know, even this year it's like starting to, you know, it's replacing Survivor Series as one of the big 4 pay-per-views, especially with Survivor Series, with a brand versus brand stuff, which really doesn't mean anything at all. It's like, you know, so they're starting to push Crown Jewel more. Obviously, with the Lesnar Reigns storyline right now, that's a big deal, and so they're paying it off at Crown Jewel. So the first betting upset was Brock actually beat Roman at the Greatest Royal Rumble in 2018, small one, plus 108 odds. Crown Jewel 2019, Bray Wyatt defeated Seth Rollins, plus 120 odds. Super Showdown 2020, plus 175 odds, a real good upset. Goldberg defeats Bray the Fiend Wyatt. Remember that one? People were going mental. And then the top 4, Brock again, defeat Braun Strowman, plus 290 odds at Crown Jewel 2018. Shane McMahon comes in at number 3 when he beat Roman Reigns at Super Showdown 2019, plus 300 odds for that one. Shane's actually involved in the second biggest upset. It was Dolph Ziggler, plus 325, defeating Kurt Angle at Crown Jewel 2018. That was the World Cup tournament. And in retrospect, there was a theory basically that it was Shane was going to come in and win the World Cup at the last minute and replace The Miz, who was injured. And so the question was, who from Raw could be squashed by Shane and it wouldn't really matter? And so out of Ziggler, Lashley, Rollins, or Kurt Angle, they decided on Dolph Ziggler. So Shane's been involved in 2 betting upsets there. And then the number 1 one was Gallus and Anderson, plus 450 odds, winning the Tag Team Turmoil tournament. New Day were favourites for that one at plus 125, with the Viking Raiders second at plus 160. New Day were always favourites, you know, the biggest tag team at the time, big faces. Viking Raiders were second favourites as they were undefeated at the time. When you look back at it, it kind of makes sense with the theory that Viking Raiders, you know, they'd faced a few teams beforehand and beat them, but they were tired, and OC come in fresh and beat them and end the undefeated streak, and then that way it sets up Viking Raiders defending the Raw Tag Team titles against the OC. It didn't actually really work out that way. Those teams really never had a feud following that too much. They did have one match a month or so later, but that was it. But yeah, so that's the betting upsets. It's, you know, interesting to see. It's basically depends on who they're going to put over. There's a couple of title upsets, so it's kind of, you know, it's this show can be good for some big upsets actually. So it'll be interesting to see. So we're going to cover a list of betting odds, and then I'll list for each match and my thoughts on who to bet. Just as a reminder, if you're new to betting, as an example, Roman Reigns is minus 200. That means he's the favourite, and you'd have to bet $200 to win $100. Brock Lesnar is underdog at plus 325. That means if you risk $100, you win $325. So that's how it works. Minus is the favourite, plus is underdog. Speaking of Roman Reigns, Brock Lesnar, when the odds came out on betwwe.com, I said bet Roman Reigns. Minus 139 odds, excellent price, a steal at that thing. Hopefully you bet him. If not, I would say bet Brock Lesnar right now at plus 325 odds. Small bet on him. The value is there. Meltzer's been reporting this isn't one and done, and that they're doing a series of matches. I don't think they should take the title off Roman. I don't know when they should, but I don't think this is the time to do it yet. But it's Crown Jewel. They pull off upsets like this here, you know. They like to shake things up. Historically, they do like to just look back at Drew losing the title to Randy Orton. I think that was last year, you know, and then winning it back and stuff, having a series of matches. Then you've got the whole Heyman potential turning on Roman deal. Basically, there's a whole laundry list of reasons as to why Brock could win this one, and they are enough for me to recommend a small bet on him at plus 325. If you bet Roman at minus 139, you could hedge it if you want, or you could ride it. Your call. Me personally, like, I would probably, if I had a Roman bet, which I did make at the beginning, I'm just going to ride it out, I think. But I wouldn't bother hedging, especially when it's only, you know, it's not a huge amount. So, yeah, I would say just if you got Roman, stick with it. If you didn't bet Roman at the time, he's unbettable at minus 200, but bet Brock plus 325. The Queen's Crown, we're still waiting to see who Zelina Vega will face. She's fighting at Raw tonight is Shayna Baszler versus Doudrop. Shayna's the favourite at minus 200. Zelina's plus 250. Doudrop's plus 350. I feel like the Queen's Crown will fit the Zelina Vega character more. So I kind of like giving her it actually. So plus 250, I would say it's a small bet. It's worth it on her at this time. The other one is the King of the Ring, which is unknown yet. It's Finn Balor versus either Jinder Mahal or Xavier Woods. Everyone's expecting Jinder to actually beat Xavier tonight on Raw, and you know, play out the big star there. It's a really tough one, and that's one where I'm gonna have to wait and see the odds because there's no odds yet. But if it's Finn versus Xavier, I would suggest Finn. I'd bet him. If it's Jinder, it's a tough call, and I'd bet the underdog, because watching SmackDown on Friday, they played up that whole "the Prince will be king" line enough that, you know, it feels like they're already setting that in stone. While with Jinder Mahal, they like to give the heels the King of the Ring. You know, they like them to win it these days and play up the same gimmick we're seeing a lot with like Baron Corbin and stuff. Not all the time, obviously, but more often. So I would say basically Finn versus Jinder, bet the underdog. Finn versus Xavier, bet Finn Balor. We've got RK Bro versus AJ Styles and Omos. It's been a bit weird lately with not on every show, etc. At plus 350, AJ Styles and Omos are pretty tempting to bet. RK Bro are minus 275. Plus 350 is a good little price there, you know, if they want to shake things up with a tag title change. I don't see anything wrong with them really switching the titles. That's when I'm going to wait, see how it plays out on Raw, really analyse the commentary during the segments and stuff and get an idea. And when I do my write-up tomorrow at betwwe.com, I'll have an actual tip there if I'm going to go with Styles and Omos. But plus 350, good value. I don't hate it. You've got Big E versus Drew McIntyre. Drew's heading to SmackDown. Big E just won the title. WWE did dumber things in the past, but I cannot see them taking the title off Big E. Big E is minus 550, so he's unbettable. Drew is a big underdog at plus 800. That's $100 to win $800. Would be one of the biggest WWE upsets ever, but no, I can't see it happening. You've got Goldberg versus Bobby Lashley. Goldberg is minus 300 and Lashley is plus 350. Lashley's really tempting, you know, but it was funny because I was discussing this one with a friend earlier, because I like to talk with a couple of people, see what their thoughts are on it all and all that, you know. They're taking it from a viewing perspective or a booking perspective, and I'm looking at it from a betting perspective, so it's good to get different opinions. And I said to my friend, do you think there's any chance Bobby Lashley wins after everything he put Goldberg through? And he said, in a properly booked company, not an effing chance. In WWE, yeah. And yeah, that pretty much sums it up. As I don't hate Bobby Lashley winning. Like, I mean, he won't. It's Goldberg, Saudi Arabia. They put these guys over, you know. They put them over. He beat the Fiend here, you know what I mean? But at plus 350, I would advise a small bet on Lashley just because, like, hopefully they wait, like, to me, it's like you wake up and you go, look, Goldberg can take a loss and he can come back better than ever. You know, like he's Goldberg. He's always going to get that pop, etc. Bobby Lashley, meanwhile, like I think you give him the win and keep him strong, but I don't think it'll happen. I think Goldberg wins, but Lashley's worth a small bet. I think. I really don't think it's going to happen. Edge is minus 350 versus Seth Rollins plus 300. Edge has to get his retribution here. Can he see anything happening for Seth winning? No bet. We've got Mansoor versus Mustafa Ali. Mansoor is minus 1200 versus Mustafa Ali plus 550. Mansoor's only in the company due to these Saudi Arabia shows. He's not losing. No bet. No bet because minus 1200 is too much of a risk. That's called a bridge jumper bet because you're betting $1,200 to win $100, and if you lose the bet, you jump off a bridge basically. So yeah, no bet for me on that one. I don't want to jump off a bridge. Finally, we've got Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Sasha Banks. Becky is minus 200, Bianca is plus 185, Sasha is a big underdog at plus 250. It's kind of a surprise that, because Sasha's going to be on SmackDown following the draft, like when it all switches around. And you would think she would keep the SmackDown title, take it on there and so on. But did they really want to have Becky Lynch lose? It's really tough to say, right? I mean, Becky can lose thanks to Bianca or whatever, so, taking the pin and so on. So it's an easy way to switch it there. This is one where I'm going to watch Raw before really making my decision. Charlotte defends against Bianca Belair tonight. That could impact things depending on what happens with Charlotte heading to SmackDown. So basically that one, again, betwwe.com, Tuesday afternoon. I'll have my betting tips there. But I would say Sasha is a good little price. So just a quick summary of all my bets. I think Brock Lesnar at plus 325 is worth it. I think Zelina Vega at plus 250, again, solid little value bet. AJ Styles and Omos, really not sure. It's slightly tempting. I'm going to see how it plays out tonight. Bobby Lashley, I really don't think he's going to win. Just the way the storyline's written and the way wrestling is historically. But I'm a sucker and I'm going to bet anyway against Goldberg, even though I should know better. I make these mistakes all the time. We all do. And then finally, I think Sasha Banks is probably worth it at plus 250, a small play. I'm sure things won't play out as the simplistic way of the SmackDown wrestler that winning the SmackDown title, but also other way, it's like, yeah, we'll see how it all plays out on Raw tonight with that one actually. But anyway, thanks for listening. Really appreciate it. Hope you've been following my New Japan betting tips at the betwwe.com. I've been absolutely crushing it lately. Had big upset wins the other day with Jeff Cobb and all that, and tipped Okada to lose to Tama Tonga. It's been just awesome. Tomorrow, Tuesday, betwwe.com. I will have all your Crown Jewel betting tips. Thanks for listening. Please follow us on Twitter, BetWrestlingPod, share the podcast, all that stuff. Really appreciate it. Thank you, and enjoy Crown Jewel if you're lucky enough to watch it. I work from home, so I will have it on in the background and hopefully making some money. Cheers. Corbin and stuff. Not all the time.